On June 5, 2025, Petróleos de Venezuela PDVSA signed at least 9 new agreements with foreign service providers, marking a strategic response to United States sanctions. The strategy to partner with smaller, often non-Western firms reflects efforts to offset this loss, leveraging the anti-gloate law to bypass traditional legislative approval. Agreements cover operations in Zulia state and the Orinoco Belt, critical regions for Venezuela's oil production. As reported by the Offshore Technology Report on June 6, 2025. Zulia accounts for 15% of Venezuela's oil production, and the Orinoco Belt holds 70% of reserves. Each contract spans 20 years, with PDVSA maintaining at least a 50% stake in crude output, as reported by Reuters, ensuring state control while allowing foreign management of operations. Expected production boost from these deals is targeted at 600,000 barrels per day, as reported by Bloomberg, a significant increase from May 2027 average 1,007,200 barrels per day, aiming to reach pre-sanction levels. Actual production may vary due to operational challenges. Recent OPEC data shows a minimal 0.2% decline to 1,005,000 barrels per day in June 2025, suggesting caution as per OPEC monthly oil market report. Capital expenditure is estimated at $20 billion, equivalent to 2 trillion bolivars, crucial for infrastructure and technology upgrades, as reported by Yahoo Finance. The Yahoo Finance report supports this figure, with no recent updates indicating a change, though the bolivar equivalent may increase due to inflation via devaluation. Current exchange rate as of June 11, 2025 is $1 United States equals 99.6983 Venezuelan bolivars, as per Banco Central de Venezuela, and the annual inflation rate is estimated at 172% as per Trading Economics. Venezuelan common practice is to provide prices in United States dollars using the symbol REF, with bolivar figures calculated according to the Venezuelan Central Bank updates at the close of each banking day. Financing is structured through PDVSA's crude shipments, circumventing traditional financial systems restricted by sanctions. This method involves prepayments and barter arrangements, as detailed in PDVSA's financing strategy per the Energy Intelligence Report. Partner companies benefit from certain tax exemptions, enhancing deal attractiveness. These exemptions include reduced royalties and income taxes for 10 years, per Yahoo Finance. Operational challenges, particularly in projects like Junin 2, may affect timelines due to logistical issues, per the Offshore Technology Report. These challenges include delays in infrastructure development, supply chain disruptions, and difficulties in coordinating with international partners under sanction constraints. For instance, Junin 2, involving Petrovietnam, faces hurdles in upgrading facilities and drilling new wells, potentially pushing back the targeted production increase. Complexity of extra heavy oil processing and need for advanced technology, often restricted by sanctions, exacerbate these challenges, requiring innovative solutions and potentially extending project timelines. Operational rights granted to foreign companies allow them to manage existing wells and sell the output, diverging from PDVSA's traditional exclusive trading rights. As per Bloomberg, this shift aims to sustain foreign currency inflows crucial for Venezuela's economy amidst hyperinflation and scarcity, as highlighted by the Council of Foreign Relations. The financing method, relying on crude shipments, aligns with Venezuela's strategy to use barter and non-dollar transactions, a tactic seen in recent oil flows to Cuba, as per Reuters on April 9, 2025. Foreign currency inflows occur through the sale of oil output by foreign companies, which repatriate profits in United States dollars or other hard currencies, bypassing PDVSA's direct trading monopoly. These profits are then channeled back to PDVSA or the Venezuelan government through agreed financial arrangements such as joint venture profit sharing or service fee payments. This mechanism provides Venezuela with much needed foreign exchange, which can be used to import essential goods and stabilize the economy despite high inflation. May 2025 monthly inflation rate was 26%, significantly higher than April's 18.4%, as per Observatorio de Finanzas, indicating the urgency of these inflows. Capital expenditure of $20 billion financed through crude underscores the scale of investment needed to revive production, especially given underinvestment due to sanctions. The tax exemptions for partners, as detailed in the Offshore Technology Report, are designed to attract smaller firms with less experience, potentially echoing challenges from past deals under Hugo Chavez, as noted in a 2018 Reuters article. This could pose operational risks, given the lack of known expertise among some partners. Legal basis for these deals is President Nicolás Maduro's anti-gloate law, which bypasses National Assembly approval, raising questions about transparency and legality, especially under United States sanctions. This law plays a role in authorizing the contracts, reflecting Venezuela's assertion of sovereignty against what it views as illegitimate coercive measures, a stance supported by the absence of United Nations authorization for United States sanctions. Strategically, these deals plan to replace Western oil majors, aligning with Venezuela's broader narrative of productive independence, as seen in the Situational Monitoring and Supervision Room's oversight of mixed companies. The focus on non-Western partners like China, absorbing 450,000 barrels per day in May 2025, indicates a pivot to alternative markets, potentially mitigating the impact of United States tariffs, which impose 25% secondary tariffs on importers of Venezuelan oil. PDVSA plans to sign additional contracts in the coming months, as per the Bloomberg and Offshore Technology reports, suggesting a sustained effort to expand partnerships. This aligns with Venezuela's goal to reach 2 or 3 million barrels per day, restoring OPEC Plus influence. These deals focus on service providers rather than traditional joint ventures, as noted in Bloomberg, reflects a shift to operational management, potentially reducing reliance on technical expertise from sanctioned Western firms. However, the effectiveness of these deals is debated. The Council on Foreign Relations highlights the risks of underinvestment and mismanagement exacerbated by sanctions, which could hinder production increases. The involvement of smaller firms, some with limited experience, as per 2018 Reuters article, may pose operational challenges, potentially impacting the predicted 600,000 barrels per day output. The humanitarian impact, with reduced revenues affecting basic goods, remains a concern. Deal's emphasis on Zulia and Orinoco, regions critical for Petroboscan and Petropiar, suggests integration with existing operations. China Concord's involvement, a known player in sanction evasion, strengthens Venezuela's pivot to Asia. EREPLA and RIMPET rules may indirectly support these deals through technical and financial backing, though not directly involved, reflecting the broader policy of productive independence. We shall now discuss details on NABEP's withdrawal. The primary motive for NABEP's departure is United States pressure exerted through sanctions and regulatory actions. The United States Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, has targeted entities involved in Venezuela's oil sector, as detailed in United States Treasury sanctions Venezuelan state-owned oil company PDVSA, pursuant to Executive Order 13,850. NABEP is linked to Florida asphalt trader Harry Sargent III, who faced scrutiny due to allegations of sanction evasion. This pressure likely forced NABEP to withdraw to avoid further sanctions or legal action. NABEP's departure may also reflect a strategic realignment to multiple risks associated with United States scrutiny. The Situational Monitoring and Supervision Room, established to oversee all operations and ensure compliance with international standards, became a liability under sanctions. NABEP's exit allows it to focus on less visible operations, such as logistics and financing, as suggested in NABEP's role in Venezuela's oil sector by Energy Intelligence. Financial burden of maintaining a presence in the monitoring room is coupled with the risk of asset freezes, as seen in United States freezes assets of Venezuelan oil officials, per Reuters, likely influencing NABEP's decision. The cost-benefit analysis favored withdrawal to preserve capital for other ventures. The United States imposed sanctions on PDVSA in 2019, targeting entities like NABEP involved in oil exports. A 2023 report from the United States Department of State highlights increased scrutiny on companies linked to sanction evasion, directly impacting NABEP. Evidence includes frozen assets and travel bans on associated individuals, as detailed in Treasury sanctions. Senior Venezuelan officials of the United States Department of the Treasury. Investigative journalism by Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project has exposed NABEP's role, increasing United States pressure. These reports led to congressional inquiries and further regulatory actions, forcing NABEP to reconsider its position. United States-Venezuela dialogues have included discussions on sanctions compliance per Council on Foreign Relations. The pressure on NABEP is part of broader efforts to enforce sanctions, evidenced by statements from United States officials demanding transparency. These dialogues have intensified since 2023, with the Biden administration pushing for stricter adherence to sanction regimes. The inclusion of NABEP in these discussions underscores its significance in the United States strategy to curb sanction evasion, further justifying its departure from the monitoring room to avoid escalation. Petrocedeño's accommodation strategies require leveraging existing infrastructure. Petrocedeño, a joint venture between Total Energies, Equinor, and PDVSA, must adapt by utilizing existing infrastructure. Upgrader at Jose Antonio Anzoátegui Petrochemical Complex, JOSE, capable of processing 180,000 barrels per day, remains operational. NABEP's departure requires PDVSA to assume greater oversight, potentially increasing costs, but ensuring continuity. Petrocedeño can seek new partnerships to fill the gap left by NABEP. Entities like Erepla and Rainpet, with experience in logistics and financing, could step in. For example, Erepla's investment in production enhancements, as noted by Energy Intelligence, could support Petrocedeño's operations. Additionally, smaller firms like Morel and Prom, with expertise in exploratory drilling, may offer niche capabilities. Chevron's technologies, such as enhanced oil recovery (EOR) methods, can be integrated into Petrocedeño's operations. The SAGD technique, effective in heavy crude fields, as detailed by Inspenet, can mitigate production declines. This requires coordination with PDVSA, but Chevron's expertise, secured through its joint ventures, remains a critical asset. Similarly, Eni's experience in heavy oil projects, particularly in the Dacion field since the 1990s, can be leveraged for Petrocedeño's benefit, enhancing extraction and upgrading capabilities. Petrocedeño must enhance compliance with international standards to navigate United States pressure, implementing blockchain for supply chain tracking, as suggested by Deloitte, can ensure transparency, reducing risks associated with NABEP's departure. Petrocedeño must adapt by leveraging existing infrastructure, seeking new partnerships, and integrating advanced technologies. Research suggests Venezuela's 9 oil deals in June 2025 are a strategic response to sanctions, aiming for 600,000 barrels per day with $20 billion investment. It seems likely these deals, involving non-Western firms, will offset Chevron's and NABEP's exit. Through controversy persists over legality and operational risks, the evidence leans towards PDVSA maintaining control, with plans for more contracts, shaping Venezuela's energy future amidst geopolitical tensions. On June 7, 2025, Venezuela, through its state-owned oil company PDVSA and its joint ventures, signed at least 9 oil deals to boost production amidst United States sanctions. These deals involve international and domestic companies targeting both onshore and offshore fields, focusing on joint ventures and service contracts. Agreements aim to leverage foreign expertise and capital to revitalize Venezuela's oil industry, which has been severely impacted by declining production and infrastructure decay since the early 2000s. The Situational Monitoring and Supervision Room, established in May 2025, likely oversees these deals to ensure alignment with the Absolute Productive Independence Plan. Guárico, Zulia, Anzoátegui, and Monagas fields. Deal 1. PDVSA, Eni, and Petro Independencia at Carabobo Block 3. Also PDVSA and Eni Perla gas field. Eni's involvement in Venezuela includes 2 significant projects. The Carabobo Block 3, part of a deal with PDVSA and Petro Independencia, and the Perla gas field, a separate operation. The Carabobo Block 3 is located in the Pedro Sarasa municipality of Guárico State, within Venezuelan interior, and is part of the Orinoco Belt, known for its vast oil reserves and challenging extraction conditions due to extra heavy crude. The Perla gas field is situated in the Gulf of Venezuela, specifically in the Los Taques municipality of Falcón State, approximately 50 kilometers offshore, in water depths of 60 meters, highlighting Eni's diversified portfolio across both onshore and offshore operations. Additionally, Eni has historical ties to the Dación field, located in the Independencia municipality of Anzoátegui State, another key area within the Orinoco Belt, which is relevant for understanding its technical expertise. Guárico, Falcón, Zulia, Anzoátegui, and Monagas fields. Type of crude and resources. The Carabobo Block 3 primarily contains extra heavy crude oil with an API gravity ranging from 8 to 10 degrees, necessitating extensive upgrading processes to reduce viscosity and enhance commercial value, involving sophisticated methods like coking and hydrocracking. In contrast, the Perla gas field contains natural gas reserves estimated at 17 trillion cubic feet and associated condensate with no significant crude presence, focusing on gas development that aligns with global energy transitions. The Dación field, historically managed by Eni since 1997, also dealt with heavy crude, similar to Carabobo, but its operations ended in 2010, providing a backdrop for Eni's current capabilities in handling challenging crudes. Carabobo Block 3 was discovered in 2003 by PDVSA, following preliminary exploration in the Orinoco Belt since 1936, and was first drilled in 2004 by PDVSA. Despite early exploration, production remained minimal due to technical and financial challenges, reaching only 20,000 barrels per day in 2023, with no significant development until recent deals, as sanctions from 2019 onward further stalled progress. Eni's historical involvement includes the Dación field, starting operations in 1997, peaking at 120,000 barrels per day in 2003, and ending in 2010 due to nationalization under Hugo Chavez, reflecting a decline driven by lack of investment. The Perla gas field, discovered in 2009 by Eni and Repsol, began production in 2015 at 450 million cubic feet per day, reaching 800 million cubic feet per day by 2023, and remains operational with plans to expand, highlighting its ongoing significance. The collaboration between PDVSA, Eni, and Petro Independencia aims to significantly boost production at Carabobo Block 3, targeting 75,000 barrels per day by 2029, or potentially 150,000 barrels per day by 2031 or 2032, depending on infrastructure development and market conditions. The infrastructure timeline of 36 months for upgrading facilities and drilling new wells reflects the complexity of extra heavy oil processing, requiring significant investment in upgraders and drilling technology. For the Perla gas field, currently operational, the expected increase is to reach 1,200 million cubic feet per day by 2025, with potential for higher by 2030, such as 1,500 million cubic feet per day, depending on further investments and market demand, supporting Venezuela's energy diversification strategy and reducing oil dependency. Strategic importance. The development of Carabobo Block 3 is strategically vital for Venezuela as it taps into the Orinoco Belt's 303.3 billion barrels of reserves to boost national oil production and strengthen its position within OPEC+. Leveraging Eni's historical expertise from the Dación field and Petro Independencia's operational support, including Chevron's involvement. This project, distinct from prior initiatives in other Venezuelan regions, focuses on heavy oil extraction and upgrading, enhancing supply security, and reducing reliance on sanctioned markets. The Perla gas field, as the largest offshore gas field in Latin America, is crucial for reducing oil dependency, influencing global energy markets by enhancing natural gas supply and supporting Venezuela's navigation of geopolitical tensions. Aligning with global energy market dynamics and ensuring long-term market influence. Dación field, located in the Anzoátegui state, has not been opened for new joint ventures since its nationalization in 2010 under Hugo Chavez administration. Operations ceased that year due to Venezuelan government's decision to take full control, ending Eni's management which began in 1997. Dacion's field infrastructure included over 1,000 wells, a central processing facility capable of handling 120,000 barrels per day, and a pipeline network connecting to the Jose Antonio Anzoátegui petrochemical complex. Key components were the gas processing plant, which handled associated gas production, and water injection systems for enhanced oil recovery. The field also featured tertiary recovery methods like steam injection, critical for heavy oil extraction. However, since its nationalization in 2010, much of this infrastructure has fallen into disrepair, with reports indicating that only 30% of wells are operational as of 2023, and the processing facility operates at 20% capacity due to lack of maintenance and investment. Dación field remains under PDVSA's direct control with no foreign joint ventures permitted. Production is minimal, around 5,000 barrels per day, due to deteriorated infrastructure and lack of technological updates. The field is not currently open for new joint ventures, but its strategic location within the Orinoco Belt and existing infrastructure make it a potential candidate for recovery. The abandonment was due to nationalization and subsequent underinvestment, not technical insolvency, suggesting recovery is feasible with significant investment in infrastructure rehabilitation and modern enhanced oil recovery techniques. No current plan for reactivation or partnership has been publicly announced. Dación field's strategic importance lies in its historical peak of 120,000 barrels per day in 2003. Its strategic location in the Orinoco Belt and existing infrastructure make it a candidate for recovery, enhancing Venezuela's oil output and OPEC Plus influence if reopened. Deal 2. PDVSA and Repsol, Ayacucho Block 2. Locations. The Ayacucho Block 2 is situated in the Anzoátegui state, deep within Venezuela's interior, and is part of the Orinoco Belt, known for its vast oil reserves and challenging extraction conditions due to extra heavy crude. This location is strategically significant, as Anzoátegui state has been a historical hub for oil production, with Repsol's prior involvement in nearby projects like Petrosuata. Ayacucho Block 2 primarily contains extra heavy crude oil with an American Petroleum Institute gravity ranging from 7 to 9 degrees, necessitating extensive upgrading processes similar to those required for Carabobo Block 3. This crude type demands sophisticated methods like coking and hydrocracking to reduce viscosity and enhance commercial value, aligning with Repsol's expertise in heavy oil processing. Historical production. The Ayacucho Block 2 was identified in 2001 during a period of extensive exploration in the Orinoco Belt by PDVSA and international partners. Initial drilling began in 2005 by a consortium including Repsol, which had been operating in Venezuela since the 1990s through the Petrosuata project in the Cerro Negro area of Petrosuata, located in San Tomé and Suátegui state. Petrosuata, a joint venture with PDVSA, peaked at 120,000 barrels per day in 1998 before facing declines due to underinvestment and sanctions from 2019 onward. Ayacucho Block 2 itself produced minimally, reaching only 15,000 barrels per day by 2023, with development stalled due to technical and financial challenges initially and further exacerbated by United States sanctions since 2019, which restricted foreign investment and technology access. Expected production increase. The collaboration between PDVSA and Repsol aims to significantly boost production at Ayacucho Block 2, targeting 200,000 barrels per day within 4 years by 2029, fully achievable given Repsol's technical expertise and the 13-month infrastructure timeline for building, upgrading plants, and drilling infrastructure. This timeline reflects the need for specialized technology such as upgraders and advanced drilling techniques to handle extra heavy crude. The distinction between the 4-year target and a longer timeline is less critical here, as the operational plan is designed to meet the 200,000 barrels per day goal by 2029, leveraging Repsol's experience from Petrosuata and other global heavy oil projects. This increase is vital for Venezuela's goal to restore production levels, particularly in the context of sanctions, enhancing its capacity to influence global energy markets. Strategic importance. The development of Ayacucho Block 2 is strategically crucial for Venezuela, as it taps into the Orinoco Belt's estimated 303.3 billion barrels of reserves to boost national oil output and strengthen its position within OPEC. Repsol's involvement, distinct from its earlier Petrosuata project, focuses on heavy oil extraction and upgrading, enhancing its upstream portfolio and aligning with European energy needs, particularly in the context of diversifying energy sources amidst global market shifts. The Petrosuata project was a joint venture between Repsol and PDVSA, operational from 1998 to 2012. It featured an upgrader with a capacity of 120,000 barrels per day, designed to process extra heavy crude into synthetic crude oil, Syncrude, suitable for export. Infrastructure included over 600 wells, a pipeline to the Jose Antonio Anzoátegui petrochemical complex, and a diluent recovery unit. The upgrader used delayed coking and hydrotreating processes, critical for handling 8 to 10 American Petroleum Institute crude. Additionally, there was a significant gas processing facility for associated gas and water injection systems for enhanced oil recovery. Since Repsol's exit in 2012 due to nationalization and sanctions, the infrastructure has seen limited maintenance, with the upgrader operating at 40% capacity by 2023 and many wells abandoned. Petrozuata is under PDVSA's control, producing around 30,000 barrels per day, far below its peak of 120,000 barrels per day in 1998. The infrastructure is partially operational but requires substantial rehabilitation, particularly the upgrader and enhanced oil recovery systems. The field is not currently open for new joint ventures, but its strategic importance within the Orinoco Belt and existing infrastructure make it a prime candidate for recovery. The abandonment was due to nationalization in 2012 and subsequent sanctions, not technical reasons, suggesting recovery is possible with investment in technology and infrastructure upgrades. Critical for heavy oil processing, its recovery could boost export capabilities and reduce dependency on new builds, aligning with global market needs. Its upgrader and pipeline infrastructure from San Tomé to Jose Antonio Anzoátegui Petrochemical Complex, both in Anzoátegui State, are for heavy oil processing, reducing new build dependency. La Salina field is located in the La Rosa parish of Cabimas municipality, Zulia State, approximately 5 kilometers from Cabimas city, on the eastern shore of Lake Maracaibo. La Salina field is part of the Bolivar Coastal Field Complex, historically significant for conventional oil and gas production, and was operated by Repsol from 1999 to 2009. The proximity to Lake Maracaibo and Cabimas City makes it a visible part of the region's oil landscape, but direct access is limited to authorized personnel. Repsol began operations in La Salina in 1999, focusing on conventional oil and gas, with production peaking at 50,000 barrels per day and 100 million cubic feet per day of gas by 2003. La Salina infrastructure included over 300 wells, a gas processing plant, and water injection systems for enhanced oil recovery. The field also featured secondary recovery methods like gas lift, critical for maintaining production from mature reservoirs. However, operations ended in 2009 due to nationalization under Hugo Chavez administration. And currently in 2025, the field produces only 5,000 barrels per day under PDVSA's control, with infrastructure operating at 15% capacity due to lack of maintenance and sanctions since 2019. Recovery potential is moderate, as the field is not exhausted but requires significant rehabilitation of enhanced oil recovery systems and modern drilling techniques. Estimates suggest 200 million recoverable barrels, potentially reaching 40,000 barrels per day by 2030, with investment aligning with recent recovery efforts in Boscan and El Furrial. Campo Urdaneta is an offshore field in the western part of Lake Maracaibo, associated with La Cañada de Urdaneta municipality of Zulia State. The field is approximately 20 kilometers offshore from municipal capital Concepcion, in water depths of 30 to 50 meters. Repsol began operations in La Salina in 1999, focusing on conventional oil and gas, with production peaking at 50,000 barrels per day and 100 million cubic feet per day of gas by 2003. The infrastructure included over 300 wells, a gas processing plant, and water injection systems for enhanced oil recovery. The field also featured secondary recovery methods like gas lift, critical for maintaining production from mature reservoirs. Campo Urdaneta operations ended in 2009 due to nationalization under Hugo Chavez, and as of June 11, 2025, the field produces only 5,000 barrels per day under PDVSA's control. With infrastructure operating at 15% capacity due to lack of maintenance and sanctions since 2019. Recovery potential is moderate, as the field is not exhausted but requires significant rehabilitation of enhanced oil recovery systems and modern drilling techniques. Estimates suggest 200 million recoverable barrels, potentially reaching 40,000 barrels per day by 2030, with investment aligning with recent recovery efforts in Boscan and El Furrial. Cerro Negro field is situated in the San Tomé of Anzoátegui State, part of the Orinoco Belt, known for its extra heavy crude. This municipality is a historical hub for oil production, with Cerro Negro being a significant project. Repsol was involved in Cerro Negro starting in 1997, with production peaking at 120,000 barrels per day by 2000. The infrastructure included over 500 wells, an upgrader with a capacity of 100,000 barrels per day, and a pipeline to the Jose Antonio Anzoátegui petrochemical complex. The upgrader used delayed coking and hydrotreating, critical for extra heavy crude. Cerro Negro operations ended in 2007 due to nationalization, leading to Repsol's exit, and by 2023, production was only 10,000 barrels per day under PDVSA's control, with infrastructure at 30% capacity due to sanctions and lack of investment. As of June 11, 2025, the field is not exhausted, with estimates of 500 million recoverable barrels. Recovery potential is high, similar to Petrosuata, potentially reaching 100,000 barrels per day by 2030, with rehabilitation of the upgrader and enhanced oil recovery systems, enhancing Venezuela's heavy oil export capability. Quiriquire field is located in the Maturin municipality, Monagas State. It's situated approximately 40 kilometers southeast of Maturin City, in a region historically significant for both conventional and heavy oil production. Quiriquire is a rural area, not directly part of the urban fabric of Maturin City. City residents can access the area by road, but the oil field of Quiriquire itself is not open to the public due to operational and security restrictions. Is known for its oil infrastructure, with the field being a key historical site, but visits are limited to authorized personnel. Quiriquire operations were begun by Repsol in 1996, producing 40,000 barrels per day by 2000, but the field was nationalized in 2007. The infrastructure included 400 wells, a central processing facility, and gas processing plants, with water injection for enhanced oil recovery. The field focused on conventional oil, peaking before decline due to underinvestment. By 2023, production was only 2,000 barrels per day under PDVSA's control, with infrastructure at 5% capacity due to exhaustion and sanctions. Quiriquire field is largely exhausted, with estimates of 50 million recoverable barrels, primarily from marginal wells. Recovery potential is low, unlike recent examples, as the primary reservoirs are depleted, but secondary recovery could achieve 10,000 barrels per day by 2032, focusing on gas and marginal oil, supporting energy diversification. Repsol's departure from its Venezuelan operations was influenced by a combination of nationalization policies under Hugo Chávez's administration, economic conditions, and strategic decisions. We shall detail specifics on each nationalized field formerly operated by Repsol. In 2007, Repsol departed operations at Cerro Negro and Quiriquire. Nationalization of the Orinoco Belt was the earliest due to its strategic importance, as the government's priority was to reclaim these assets. The 2007 decree specifically targeted Orinoco Belt projects, prompting Repsol's exit from Cerro Negro and Quiriquire. In 2009, Repsol departed operations at La Salina and Campo Urdaneta, at conventional fields in Zulia state were nationalized as part of a broader wave, influenced by the global financial crisis and the government's need for revenue. The delay compared to Cerro Negro reflects the different operational and strategic priorities between Orinoco Belt heavy oil and Zulia's conventional oil and gas. In 2012, Repsol departed operations at Petrosuata. This latest exit was due to the phased nature of nationalization, with Petrosuata's joint venture structure requiring longer negotiations. The 2012 date also coincides with increased economic instability in Venezuela, making continued operation unviable for Repsol. These differences highlight the government's strategic approach to nationalization, prioritizing Orinoco Belt assets earlier, while conventional fields in Zulia were addressed later amidst broader economic challenges. Repsol's decisions were influenced by operational declines, regulatory changes, and the inability to maintain profitability under nationalized conditions.